Family tree verification is a key process of the National Register of Citizens. The register containing names of all genuine Indian citizens, first prepared in 1951 and is currently now being updated in Assam to identify illegal immigrants who crossed India's soft borders attached with Bangladesh. As per statutory requirement, the NRC authorities had to publish copies of NRC 1951 and electoral rolls of all years up to 24th March 1971, collectively named as legacy data. Easy accessibility of these documents was the key to ensure effective public engagement in the process. NRC authorities decided to digitize 6.26 lakh pages of legacy documents available across the state in poor condition to make it easily searchable in Assamese, English and Bengali. 2.01 crore records were digitized from such documents and were assigned a unique legacy data code. All 6.26 lakh pages were then converted into images and assigned unique image IDs and linked to each of the 2.01 crore records for preserving the database and establishing unique identity of records. This data was published in public domain. Issue of 77 lakh legacy data codes in 2500 NRC Seva Kendra and 68 lakh LDCs through web in a period of 6 months proved to be the game changer in NRC update, as 95% applicants submitted legacy data as supporting document to prove their claim for inclusion in NRC. Applicants across Assam were asked to find the name of their ancestor in the legacy data either by visiting any of the NRC Kendra or by going online on the NRC website www.nrcassam.nic.in. After visiting the website, one has to click on the legacy data search hyperlink to start the search. The applicant can search in 3 languages, that is, English, Assamese or Bengali. One has to select the gender and then the district his ancestor was a descendant of. Let's say that the applicant is looking for Mr. Chandan Das. The village option can be left blank if the applicant is not sure about it. Once the search tab is clicked, all the people similar to the name searched for are shown. Extra information is available in the form of father's or husband's name, present district, name of the village, year of issue. The applicant can click on the View button to know more about a particular legacy person who might be his ancestor. A new pop-up window appears giving more information about this person. By clicking on the Image tab, one can see the actual legacy document on which this particular legacy person's name was mentioned. This image helps a lot in figuring out that whether the person you are checking out is your legacy person or not. In case of confusion, the applicant can go back and click on the Show Image and Nearby Data tab to check out nearby names and find out his legacy person. One can take help of the Load Village data also to see all the people living in this village. There are 3 more options to search the legacy person. The Village Image Search gives the option to see all the villages which falls under a district. By selecting a village, one can see all the scanned images of legacy documents of that particular village. With Image ID search, the applicant can use the image ID of the scanned image to locate his legacy person. In the Village List option, the applicant can see all the villages in a district. He can select up to 15 villages and can directly see all the digitized records of the selected villages. Like this, one could use various ways to search for his legacy person. Once an applicant has identified his ancestor in the legacy data, he could use that legacy data code in his application form and show linkage to that legacy person using linkage documents. As proof, the applicant was issued a legacy data slip containing the 11-digit LDC and an 8-digit code of the scanned image of pre-1971 electoral rolls on which his legacy person's details can be found. 68 lakh families or 3.3 crore individuals applied for NRC updation. The married woman applied through her husband's application form but using her own ancestors' LDC. All the forms were digitized for verification. Let's look at the Sarma family tree for a clear understanding. Let's say late Janardhan Sarma was the descendant of Assam and his name was there in the legacy data. Hence, he will be given a legacy data code. Both his son Chandra Sarma and Utpal Sarma living separately will search for their father in the legacy database. Once found, they will use his legacy data code in their application form, showing the linkage between themselves and Janardhan through any of the linkage documents like birth certificate, university certificate, etc. They will mention all the immediate family members in their forms. That is, Chandra Sarma will mention wife Turali Devi, his son Akash and daughter Isha, while Utpal Sarma will mention Manisha, Tanushri and Jay. Both the daughter-in-law Turali Devi and Manisha Sarma will apply from their husband's form but will use the legacy data code of their ancestor from their father's side and not of Janardhan. Whereas Janardhan Sarma's married daughter Deepti Hazarika will use Janardhan Sarma's legacy data code only and will apply from her husband Mahesh Hazarika's form and will show her linkage to her father through any of the admissible documents. With the Sarmas, late Janardhan's LDC is being used in 3 application forms, that is, Chandra Sarma, Utpal Sarma and Deepti Hazarika. The primary reason to include family tree verification was that it was easy for an imposter to choose any legacy person as per his convenience from the legacy data and then show linkage with the legacy person. Family tree verification ensured that this doesn't happen. Let's say an imposter named Ravi has used late Janardhan Sarma's legacy data code out of his convenience, and he successfully creates a forged linkage document like a voter ID card in which Janardhan Sarma is mentioned as his father. During the family tree hearing, when the entire Sarma family will be called for verification, Ravi will also be called with them, and they will not identify him as a family member, and thus he will be caught. Like this, the family tree verification process was the key differentiator in the NRC updation. 39 lakh legacy data codes were used by the people in this drive. It was observed that most of the application forms generally had 2 legacy data codes in it. One used by the husband Chandra Sarma and other by the wife Turali Devi. With every form submitted, a computerized family tree was generated by the system for every legacy data code used in it. For example, in Chandra Sarma's form, one computerized family tree will consist of his father, late Janardhan Sarma, mother Meera, himself Chandra Sarma, son Akash and daughter Isha. These are the people whom he mentioned. While one more CFT of the same form will be of Turali Devi and her father's family. Similarly, there will be a CFT for Utpal Sarma and Deepti Hazarika generated from their form also. These 3 CFTs will merge in one CFT as they have used a common legacy data code, that is late Janardhan Sarma. This big merger will show the complete family tree of the Sarma family, showcasing all the family members together. In case some other person has also used late Janardhan Sarma's legacy data code, he will also appear in this. It looks something like this. Anyone seeing this CFT, which is based on one single LDC, will get to know immediately that who all are the family members. The essence of a computerized family tree is incomplete without a manual family tree, as they both are needed to complete the verification process. Hence, every applicant was also asked to submit a manual family tree from their side, mentioning all the children and grandchildren up to 2 generations of the legacy person. Like Chandra Sarma will submit a manual family tree starting from his father, late Janardhan Sarma, mother Meera, who are both 0 generation, himself, his brother Utpal and sister Deepti, who are 1st generation, then all the children of 2nd generation. The manual family tree will also be submitted by both Utpal Sarma and Deepti Hazarika, as they both are submitting different forms. In the MFT, it was mandatory to mention everyone irrespective of whether any member has applied to be in NRC or not. E-Form 3 is an application where the manual family tree submitted by an applicant is compared with his computerized family tree generated by the system to find any wrongful user. This is the first step of verification. Once all the application forms and the MFTs have been received and scanned, the LRCR, that is, the local registrar of citizen registration, was given a user ID and a password to log in the E-Form 3 application for the verification. Once logged in, he can view and open all the ARNs which he received at his NSK. Let's say he opens the first ARN. In this ARN, as we can see, there are two LDCs, one of late Janardhan Sarma and one of Ganesh Barthakur. By clicking on Janardhan's LDC, the system will show the CFT which contains the names of all the people who have used Janardhan's LDC. As we can see, there are users like Chandra Sarma, his children Isha and Akash. In front of these users, same ARN is mentioned. That means this application is submitted by Chandra Sarma. Other users are Utpal Sarma, his children Jay and Tanushri, and sister Deepti Hazarika. Now the LRCR will open Chandra Sarma's MFT to cross-check who all are mentioned in this MFT and whether those mentioned are there in the CFT as well or not. So whosoever is mentioned will get a positive yes from the officer in E-Form 3, while whosoever is missing will get a no. As we can see, Utpal Sarma and his children Jay and Tanushri Sarma are mentioned in both CFT and MFT, they will get a positive yes. As Deepti Hazarika is also mentioned in both CFT and MFT, she will also get a yes. Same exercise will be done by the LRCR who received Utpal's and Deepti's ARN. They will cross-check other family members and mark yes and no. Like this, E-Form 3 for the LDC of late Janardhan Sarma will be completed. The LRCR will then move on to the next LDC of the same ARN which belongs to Ganesh Barthakur, who is the father of Torali Devi. LVRRS application was designed as a quality check for E-Form 3 to eliminate any errors and strengthen the verification process. In this, the LRCR has to check that whether his ARN user is being mentioned by other family members in their MFTs or not. It is unlike the E-Form 3 where he was cross-checking other family members in his ARN's MFT. This is like a double-check method. All the MFTs were made available to the LRCR to make this possible. After login, the LRCR can view all the ARN he has received at his NSK to review. He clicks on the first ARN. There are 4 people in this: Chandra Sarma, Torali Devi and their children Isha and Akash. This first step is dedicated to review whether the LDC mentioned in front of each person is correctly digitized or not. If the LDC or the relationship with the legacy person is not correct as per their MFT, the LRCR has the option to correct it and save the changes. An error of writing wrong LDC can prove to be fatal for that person in the NRC process. On the next page, the LRCR will see 2 different LDC codes which are there in this ARN. By clicking on late Janardhan Sarma's LDC, he will move to this page. The 3 people who have used this LDC in this ARN are mentioned here, that is, Chandra Sarma, his children Isha and Akash. There are 2 other linked ARNs to this LDC. One belongs to Utpal Sarma and the other to Deepti Hazarika, as they have also used Janardhan Sarma's LDC. A yes is already mentioned in this box. The yes means that Utpal's MFT mentioned Chandra Sarma, while no means he didn't. The LRCR's job here is to cross-check this yes by opening Utpal's MFT to see his answers. He will then open Deepti's MFT to see her answers. Like this, he will make sure that the entries have been made correctly during the E-Form 3. The whole purpose of E-Form 3 and LVRRS was to generate a family match matrix giving the exact picture of who has identified whom. Something like this. This matrix, as you can see, contains the names of all the people who have used late Janardhan's LDC. The 3 ARNs in which this LDC was mentioned is in the horizontal line. This row shows the head of the family who filled the form. Both Chandra Sarma and Utpal Sarma filled their forms. As Deepti Hazarika applied through her husband Mahesh Hazarika's form, Mahesh's name is there as he is the head of the family. But the answers mentioned are that of Deepti. That is, all the yes in Mahesh's column confirms that Deepti's MFT mentioned all these names. This matrix clearly depicts that whether all the users of one single LDC are real family members or not, and have acknowledged each other or not. If the wrongful user Ravi would also have used this LDC, his name would have been here, and there would have been a series of no in front of his name, as he too wouldn't have mentioned any real family member in his MFT. And thus, he would have been caught. The next step in the family tree verification was the public hearing of the cases. There were broadly 2 types of cases: LDC cases and non-LDC cases. In an LDC case, the family has used a legacy data code and the hearing of all of them will happen together. In a non-LDC case, as they have not used any legacy data code, but other List A documents, the hearing might or might not happen together depending if they have applied from one form or different forms. As the public hearing of applicants was about to begin, the Supreme Court of India ordered the verification of Gram Panchayat document also, which was submitted by many married women as a linkage to the legacy person. This document is an age-old tradition in India, issued by a Gram Panchayat or a circle officer to a girl after marriage, stating that she is the daughter of her father and acknowledges the shifting of residence of a married woman from one village to another. This document can be used as a linkage document. As the back-end verification of GP was difficult, it was decided to verify GP during the hearing of cases only, with the issuing authority of that GP personally verifying it. Hence, after the inclusion of GP, following types of cases came into the picture. First, LDC with GP cases. These were the family tree verification cases where the married woman used a GP document to show linkage to the legacy person whose LDC she is using. That means, at the time of family hearing, GP document will also be verified. Second, LDC without GP cases. In these family tree verification cases, the married woman has not used any GP document. It means she is using some other document like Aadhaar or voter ID card to show linkage to the legacy person whose LDC she is using. That means, at the family hearing, there will be no need for GP verification. Third, non-LDC with GP cases. These are the cases where the family has not used any legacy data code but have used any other admissible documents of List A of the legacy person to prove his residency in Assam. And the married daughter is using GP document to show the linkage with the legacy person. Fourth, non-LDC without GP cases. The cases where the family has not used any legacy data code but other List A documents, and the married daughter is not using GP document to show linkage with the legacy person, but other linkage documents. Now it was clear that there were 4 types of hearings to be done under NRC. There were 1436 verification centers available under 158 circles across Assam for hearing of cases. As the GP verification could only happen by the issuing authority, that is, the GP office of that circle, every GP office was tagged to one verification center of the circle to which the GP office belongs to, and priority of hearing was given to GP cases first. Hence, both LDC and non-LDC cases with GP were allotted to those particular venues to which their GP belongs to. This gave a very clear picture as to how many centers out of 1436 would be occupied by this methodology. The remaining centers were then used for non-GP cases. The third priority was given to the non-LDC without GP cases. As every case contains only one ARN, it is allotted to any of the available venue in the circle to which the ARN belongs to. For example, the ARN belongs to Circle X of Assam, in which there are 10 verification centers. 7 are busy with GP cases. Hence, it will go to any of the 3 venues which is available. And finally, the LDC without GP cases, which involve various ARNs, and the family is scattered across districts or circles. These were allotted to the available venue in a district which has the maximum user. These steps were taken to make sure all the GP users reach the verification office of that circle to which their GP belongs to. The GP officer doesn't have to move from one venue to another, and all the users of his circle reach the venue he is operating from. Verification of both GP documents and LDC of a family in an LDC plus GP case takes place at the same venue so that the family doesn't have to go from venue to venue. One venue would not have more than 3 to 4 officers with their supporting staff to avoid congestion. Every venue had police and security staff. The applicants were sent notices in advance regarding their hearing, carrying the date, time, venue address, slot and the name of the officer. To avoid chaos, there were 3 slots of hearing, that is 9 to 11 am, 11 am to 1 pm and 1 to 3 pm. For the family tree verification, additional disposing officers were hired for hearing of these cases. They were trained in the process, given laptops and assistants. Every officer was allotted a set number of cases for each day and given a kit containing scanned application forms related to their allotted cases, supporting documents related to linkages, MFT of those forms, CFT of the LDC, and family tree match matrix. In an LDC verification case, all the family members who have used the same legacy data code would gather in front of the officer. The kit given to the officer would help him to understand the case. The matrix would help him to check if there is any member with a doubt or is everything good with the family. An hearing schedule was created and shared with the public, investigating officers and GP officers, so that they could make their preparations for the verification. After 100 days of hearing, the results were as follows. Either applicants were found genuine and were forwarded for NRC inclusion, or applicants had error in their application forms and were asked to apply again, or applicants were found wrongful or an imposter. The reasons for error in the application forms were due to: first, family dispute where the families have stopped talking to each other. Second, the family is not in touch for a long time and has omitted some names. Third, use of nicknames and not real names. Fourth, the married daughter has not given the complete MFT due to poor understanding of the family relations. Fifth, change of religion or change of name after marriage. Sixth, the legacy person had 2 wives and their children were not aware of each other's existence. Seventh, human error or poor memory. In wrongful cases or the cases of imposter, the genuine family members immediately refused to identify the doubtful person. The officer then inquired the doubtful person about the legacy person. Questions like wife of the legacy person, the neighbors of the legacy person, names of the other family members, etc. This was done to make sure that the person in doubt gives the wrong answers about the family and hence is caught. Some illegal immigrants even surrendered on being questioned. Cases of the genuine family members taking a bribe from a stranger to use their ancestors' legacy code came into the picture. But as the married daughter was not aware of this, so she never identified that stranger in her MFT. This is how family tree verification became a key component of NRC updation. Without it, it would have been very difficult to conduct NRC and find defaulters.